Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the liberal loudmouth. So Ben Shapiro did a video that didn't work out too well for him. And it actually gives me a lot of hope for the country. It makes me feel, as you'll see here soon, it makes me also feel quite patriotic. Let's listen to what this dipshit Ben Shapiro has to say, and then let's look at what his own people had to say to him.
On the right who ought to, she said, be shut out of media and particularly social media. Well, now she is full-scale rallying in favor of the murderer. So she tweeted yesterday on Blue Sky, which is a weird left-wing echo chamber form of Twitter.
No, we can't control it, so it's weird.
Post put out by Blue Cross Blue Shield all about whether it was going to pay for anesthesia under its healthcare coverage. And she then tweeted out, quote, "And people wonder why we want these executives dead." So openly cheering the death of Brian Thompson. That wasn't her only post. Somebody put out a statement saying, quote, "Legislation idea, healthcare executives and their families must be on the cheapest plan their company offers, and they aren't allowed to seek other care." And she wrote in all capital letters, "Endorse." Then she put out a post that showed a graphic of a happy star, like a star with a happy face and balloons, and the caption "CEO down." And she wrote, "Woke up to see this spammed in my group chats." And she said, "I am not alone," that other people were doing the same thing. Then she reposted a post from left-wing agitator Ken Klippenstein saying, "Today we remember the legacy of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson." And what exactly was that legacy? The claim denial rates by insurance companies. And of course, it's not just Taylor Lorenz. Socialist Nathan Robinson, a complete useless leech on the ass of society, posted himself, quote, "Live your life in such a way that people will be sad when you die." That was above a screen cap of a New York Times headline that said, "Torrent of hate for health insurance industry follows CEO's killing." That piece from the New York Times is all about people who apparently were perfectly fine with the murder of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York City. According to the New York Times, none of this stopped social media commentators from leaping to conclusions and showing a blatant lack of sympathy over the death of a man who was a husband and father of 2 children. "Thoughts and deductibles to the family," read one comment underneath the video of the shooting posted online by CNN. "Unfortunately, my condolences are out of network." A TikTok user wrote, quote, "I'm an ER nurse, and the things I've seen dying patients get denied for by insurance makes me physically sick. I just can't feel sympathy for him because of all those patients and their families." And these sorts of messages were incredibly common across the internet. We discussed yesterday a Columbia professor who wrote something very similar. Unfortunately, bubbling under the surface of all this is something very serious, really serious. What is that serious thing? The revolutionary left is creeping into the mainstream. Yesterday we talked about liberals.
Revolutionary left bullshit. This goes across all spectrums. And he's trying to say this is a left issue. I'm sorry. It's not. No, the left wing of the country are not the only ones that have been shit on by a health insurance company. Let's be clear about that.
Versus the left. Liberals are people who disagree with me on public policy, but aren't in favor of, the murder of their opponents. The left is a different thing. The shooting of Thompson has unleashed a wave of evil from members of the left. Thompson was not a criminal. He wasn't even an advocate of death, the way, for example, abortion or euthanasia advocates.
Thompson wasn't a criminal. Well, that means that the southern plantation owners that had slaves, wasn't nothing wrong with them. You shouldn't kill them either because they're not criminals. Because back then slavery was legal. So using his logic, those people are perfectly fine. As long as the bad thing is legal, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly acceptable.
And by the way, murdering an abortionist or an advocate of euthanasia would be unjustifiable morally in a democratic system. Brian Thompson's great sin, according to these people, is that he was the head of a company that exists within a mixed private-public healthcare framework, and that he did his job, because that's how health insurance actually works. Some things are covered, and some things are not. And you may not like the application of the coverage, and it may be bad. That is not an excuse for murder. But for the left, if you hate the system, you are morally justified in murdering anyone who acts within the system. That means that if, like
that's
one
not
Bernie
what
Sanders
people are
did,
saying.
You believe that private healthcare kills Americans, you can go around murdering Congress people. I know we buried that one. The media pretended it never happened. Steve Scalise is still limping today because he was nearly shot to death by a Bernie Sanders fan who believed that being part of the quote-unquote system that didn't nationalize healthcare meant you were a murderer. This stuff means that if you don't like that health insurance...
Funny he only brings up Steve Scalise. What about Gabby Giffords? Forget about that one.
Insurers often deny coverage for certain pre-existing conditions or non-covered doctors or medication. You can then murder the CEO of a health insurance company. This is revolutionary leftist evil. And it's evil for a couple of reasons. First, violence is...
Okay, so I'm not going to let this dude rail any longer because honestly, I don't give a shit. He's a blowhard, know-nothing piece of shit. And he is in favor of committing genocide in Gaza. He's in favor of all of the children that have been killed in Gaza. He celebrates the death of children in Gaza because they are, quote-unquote, terrorists, even though their land is illegally occupied by an illegal occupier. According to his logic, therefore, you would think that Israel was the bad person. But no. That bias only goes one way with Ben Shapiro. It's okay to kill kids in another country if you want to steal that land and get storefront property or beachfront property, just like Jared Kushner said. Remember that? Anyway, enough railing about this dumbass. Let's look at the fucking comment section, shall we? First one, I'm not buying this left versus right shit anymore, Ben. I want health care for my family. We got conservatives and liberals hugging each other in a comment section before GTA 6. Not gonna lie, these comments are making me feel patriotic as fuck. And the reason it's making him feel patriotic as fuck is because the left and the right are unified on this issue. But you won't hear that from these fucking rich media oligarch pieces of shit that run everything, because they need you to hate the other side. They need you to continue to hate the other people, because those people are bad people because they disagree with policy. And they want to shit on those people. And the people in this comment section clearly are seeing right through this establishment bullshit. Damn, bro, you literally accidentally radicalized all your conservative fans into saying we should get cheap health care no matter what. Good job, Ben. Fact, both left and right are cheering, we don't care about your feelings. Just because, quote, the left likes something doesn't mean you have to instinctively hate it. Wake up and read the room, bro. Thank you. It's not left or right. It's not black or white. It's rich versus poor. Your true colors are showing. Please tell me you didn't need this video to tell you that Ben Shapiro is a rich little elitist piece of shit that has been lying to you, grifting off of you, feeding you bullshit so that you can continue to just fight over these petty issues, when the reality is that most Americans all care about the same shit. They want to work. They want to raise their families. They don't want to struggle even though they have a full-time fucking job and work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes 2 jobs, and then pay a health insurance company $500 a month themselves, and the business kicks in another, $1,500 a month that the business is paying, only to have that fucking health insurance company turn around and deny claims for the very thing that they're getting paid nearly $2,000 a month to pay for. This is bullshit. But this is what Ben Shapiro and even Jake Uger and Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and fucking Chris Cuomo and the rest of these pukes, this is what they want you to do. They're going to keep railing about this, chipping away at you to make you think that this is a left issue, so that you keep hating your neighbor just because they didn't vote for Donald Trump, or they want universal health care or something of that nature. It is nice to see that the Republicans have finally gotten on board with the fact that we need to fucking fix the health care in this country. And if it takes the murder of some piece of shit oligarch fucking multimillionaire to do it, I say good. I'm not done with this comment section, though. Right-winger here, you are wrong, Ben. This man denied 35% of claims. The facts do not care about any of your feelings. Respectfully, I think this take was out of touch. Ben Shapiro is out of touch, bro. Don't say you're pro-life and then side with health insurance companies. Thank you. According to Ben, I went from Trump voter to revolutionary leftist in the span of a month. Does it get any more obvious than that? You're wrong, Ben. I'm that, quote, evil leftist you always rage about. I have an uncle who is a conservative, as conservative as they come. Voted for Trump and everything. We have very little in common and avoid each other at holiday parties. I can tell you both, we both wept when my dad slowly died of cancer, while the insurance he paid for kept denying him life-saving care. We both saw the injustice in that. That same uncle is posting on Facebook right now how, quote, he couldn't give a fuck about no CEO. Insurance companies kill millions of people a year, and they don't discriminate between leftists and conservatives. There's no left or right when it comes to the greenback dollar. I was raised in a deeply conservative Christian home in rural Tennessee. I'm with the adjuster. Shapiro is just a little rich boy with a silver spoon in his chittering mouth. These people don't know what it's like to not be able to afford something that is denied of you by a company that said, no, we're not going to pay for it, because they can just turn around and pay for that shit out of their pocket. This doesn't affect them. Your rich privilege is showing, Ben, not that good anymore at keeping the working class divided and angry at each other. Hallelujah. He had a wife and a family. Yeah, bro, so did the hundreds of thousands of people who are denied health care and die. Saw my lifelong hardworking father become bankrupt as a result of claims being denied after getting cancer. You're out of touch, man. Holy 46,000 dislikes to 6,700 likes. I guess the facts really don't care about your feelings, Ben. Hate to break it to you, buddy, but it's not just the left who is sick of this. This isn't a left versus right issue. It's the work. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Right here, he was born rich. His mother was a TV company executive. His father, a composer. He lived in luxury his entire life with the connections, wealth, and access he had since birth. Of course, he would end up super rich. At age 12, his father arranged for him to play at the Israel Bonds Banquet in 1996. Look it up. He has never been working class, always rich since birth. This motherfucker never worked a day, not a single day in his little fucking puny-ass wimpy little life. And he wants to stand up there and talk down to you and make you think that you're an idiot. Fuck Ben Shapiro and his silver spoon piece of shit mouth. And y'all, I just want to leave you with this. I know a lot of conservative people. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm an Oklahoma Democrat. And Republicans, the people, are not your enemy. They aren't. The vast majority of these people are just like you. And most of the time, if you take the time and have some patience and find a way to settle a conversation down, you'll realize that you guys are they're all the same. My best friend, even, after even just 6 months to a year of talking to him, he's a conservative, and he started seeing the cracks forming in the arguments that they were making. And he, went against these things because a lot of the stuff that the Republicans do is specifically designed to get the people pissed off, not at the system necessarily, but at the other people. That's all they have. Now, there's a clip of Bernie Sanders, and he explains it to the T, how we've gotten to this point. I mean, the guy's like a fucking prophet. This dude is a fucking soothsayer. I mean, Bernie Sanders was just spot on. Of course, he's been spot on basically his entire political career, even since he was in college. He's been saying the same things over and over. The system, the Republicans' system, is designed to get the people irritated, not at the people at the top, but at everybody else. Anyway, let's listen to Bernie Sanders just burn this whole thing down.
So good. And now I'm going to tell you something that very few people in Congress would tell you. If you are the Republican leadership, and this is what your goals are, your goals are to give huge tax breaks to the very richest people in this country. Your goals are ultimately to privatize Social Security so that Wall Street can make money from that. Privatize Medicare so the insurance companies can make more money. Privatize education. Do away with public schools. If those are your goals and you said that to the American people, you think you get a lot of lower. There are many members of the Congress today, Republicans, who not only will not raise the minimum wage, which is $5.15 an hour, you know what they will tell you, honestly? They believe in abolishing the minimum wage. Did you know that? Check it out. Telling you the truth. So that if Americans can work for $3 an hour or $2 an hour, not a problem. Now, if you had an agenda like that and you went before the American people, tax breaks for the rich, destruction of Medicare, destruction of Social Security as we know it, lowering the minimum wage or abolishing it, how many votes do you think you'd get? Not a whole lot. Maybe the richest 1% would vote for you. But that's not a lot of votes. So what do? I've got a problem. You package it. How do you package it? And here's, I want you to pay attention to me. Because this is bad stuff. I don't mind debating people who say, I was on the Hannity show, Sean Hannity yesterday, and Hannity, extreme right-wing guy, he thinks he loves these tax breaks for the rich and so forth, so we had a little bit of a discussion about that. Actually, it was a loud discussion, am I right? But I don't mind people who are upfront about that. Okay, give the rich more tax breaks, we can argue that. But that doesn't win you elections. So this is what you do. What you do is divide people up.
There you go.
When you asked me your question, how do I get elected? I said,
Preach,
I try to
Bernie.
bring people together. We fight for women's rights.
Preach.
We support the rights of minorities. We support the rights of workers. We bring the majority of people together. And occasionally, honest people will have differences of opinion. In this room, there will be differences of opinion. But everybody in this room is in agreement that everybody should have health care, right? Question number 2, should we increase funding for education or should we lower funding for education? Raise your hand if you think we should increase funding for education. Okay, you're on the side of the vast majority of Americans. Okay. So on those issues, we bring people together. Now, what do the Republicans try to do? And they use it in what we call, kind of language that they not upfront about. What do? We divide people up by races. Affirmative action becomes one issue. All them black people are getting the jobs that we white people used to have. Split people, working class, white against black. Instead of working
or
together,
Hispanics,
decent jobs for all.
Mexicans.
Those uppity women now, they want the right to choose. We'll split people on the abortion issue. We'll split people up on the gun issue. We'll split people up on religious issues. Do you follow what I'm saying? So you split people up, and then they end up, if you're a middle-class person, voting against your own interests, and the rich go laughing all the way to the bank. Okay? And they very often play white workers.
Divide and conquer.
And we try to bring people together to say, look, we're all in this boat together, whether you're black or white, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Muslim, whatever you may be. Everybody needs health care. How do we create a health care system that works for all people? Not divide people up. Everybody knows that the kids, young people, do not make it into the middle class unless they have a decent college education. So how do we make college education accessible to all people? Not an expensive proposition, a tiny, tiny fraction of the president's tax breaks for the rich, if we put into financial aid, would make sure that every young person in this country could go to college without going deeply into debt. You know what? The vast majority of the people support us. But in order to do that, we have to bring everybody together. And many of these, not all, and I'm not here to disparage all Republicans. Some very decent people happen to be conservative. I respect that. But some people who I don't respect will play off women against men, black against white. Oh, the gay issue, very, very big issue. Okay? Straight against gay, right? We're all supposed to hate gay people, so we split that group up. And then the argument, some of us are not patriotic. We had concerns about the war in Iraq. I voted against giving the president authority to the war in Iraq. Well, that makes us unpatriotic. We hate America. Divide those things up. And that's how they succeed. And they succeed with the help of the media.
All right, so that was Bernie Sanders telling it like it is, like 21 years ago back in 2003. He was right then, he's right now, and as you can see in the comments section, it looks like there's some conservatives that are starting to maybe kind of realize, okay, maybe this dude's been lying to us for a long time. We're starting to see through him. Tell me what you think. Do you think this is an opportunity, or do you think it'll be wasted just because of how successful the propagandists have been over the last 40 years even? Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. And that's it for now, guys. This is the Liberal Loudmouth, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace.